Welcome to Sports Cards once again. In this video, we're going to explore what the market is like for WNBA sports cards, where it has been, and where it may be going. The WNBA started in 1996, and the first WNBA sports cards were released from a can in 1997. Here, towards the end of the junk wax era of sports card collecting, the WNBA card market was really very minimal, and the general popularity of the league itself was what might be called niche. These 1997 Pinnacle cards were the genesis of WNBA cards. I actually just bought a Cynthia Cooper card, rookie card from 1997 Pinnacle after I wrote this script actually, because she was the MVP for the first 2 years in the WNBA's existence, and her rookie card was like $5 from the very first year of the WNBA, so I was like, okay, I'll buy that. After the Pinnacle cards, Fleer and Skybox make up the majority of the early years of WNBA cards. Then in 2005, the WNBA card license was taken over by Rittenhouse Archives, and they were the card producers all the way up until 2018. During this time, the cards were not the most unique, as Rittenhouse was not normally a sports card company. They were more focused on science fiction and fantasy trading cards. But there was still some great cards in the mix here and there, especially since there were some really great players. In 2018, Panini took over the license for the WNBA, and that is who has it now. And we're going to come back to Panini here in just a bit. Now, when people think of the big sports card markets, I'm sure the NFL, MLB, NBA, maybe the NHL, and more recently perhaps soccer cards as well, come to most people's minds. But the WNBA sports card market is no longer just some obscure thing. Several things have happened to cause this. In early 2021, the sports card markets of all sports got an incredible injection of interest, coinciding with stimulus checks and shelter-in-place policies. And the market for WNBA cards got its fair share of this injection. Rookie cards of Sabrina Ionescu, Elena Delle Donne, Skylar Diggins-Smith, and Jonquel Jones have all sold rookie cards on eBay for 4 figures over this past year. And other all-time greats like Cheryl Miller before the WNBA, Cynthia Cooper, and Tamika Catchings have had huge value jumps at this same time as well. Now, while the boost of the early 2021 sports card market may never occur again, at least not with quite the same intensity, it really did a lot to bring to the attention of many the existence of WNBA sports cards and the viability of them as a good option for sports card collectors. In addition, since Panini took over the license, the look of the cards have become much more familiar to sports card collectors in general. The Panini Prism sets have much of the same style as the NBA cards, and so it's much easier for a collector to recognize which cards are more valuable or more sought, which in turn makes getting into collecting WNBA cards not such a large jump as it once was for many collectors. Combining this kind of burst of interest in WNBA cards with the fact that the league itself has only become more popular year by year for pretty much the entirety of its existence, you have the potential for this sports card market to be more than just the forgotten younger sister of the NBA. Over the past years, it's become common practice for sports card boxes to sell out at retail shops almost as soon as they are put on the shelves. Across all major sports, resellers have been buying them up as quickly as possible and then reselling them online for a huge markup over their purchase price. And WNBA cards have been following this same trend, with markups pretty much equivalent to that of other sports. This is just another sign that WNBA cards are actually rising in interest among many collectors. Just how much have some of the top WNBA cards gone for, you ask? Well, let's take a quick look at 5 of the most expensive cards sold on eBay over this past year. Number 5, Sue Bird, 2002 Fleer Ultra PSA 9 rookie card, $1,400. Number 4, Brianna Stewart, 2016 Rittenhouse rookie card, $1,500. Number 3, Candace Parker, 2008 Rittenhouse PSA 9 rookie card numbered out of 444. $2,000. Number 2, Maya Moore, 2011 Rittenhouse rookie card numbered out of 225, $2,000. And number 1, Sabrina Ionescu, 2020 Prism Black Gold rookie card numbered out of 5, sold for $28,000. Now, combining the popularity of Ionescu with the popularity of Prism as a set, with the emergence of WNBA cards as a more sought-for collectible, with the fact of this very short printed color parallel card that is well recognized as a top get by sports card collectors, with the fact that Sabrina is a young up-and-coming superstar, and you have the makings of a card that had enough momentum to burst through the glass ceiling on its way to being the first 5-figure WNBA sports card ever sold. Now, where all this is going to the future with WNBA cards is tough to say. On the one hand, it does seem clear that there has been increasing interest, especially over the past year or so. On the other hand, Panini, as helpful as they were in getting the market more interested in the WNBA, doesn't seem to spend too much attention on their WNBA license, whereas they make tons of different NBA cards, from Prism to Optic to Select to dozens of others. With the WNBA, they have kept it limited to just Donruss in its first year and Prism since then. As it has become more popular, it would have only made sense to expand that at least somewhat, but the fact that Panini hasn't done this seems to say they aren't focusing much of their business strategy this direction. Now, whether they will once Fanatics takes over their license for producing cards of the NBA, NFL, and MLB is a different story. I have read nothing that speaks to this, so I really don't know, but I do wonder if Panini may try to spark more interest in the WNBA as it gets closer to the time their other card market licenses dry up, if they do decide to continue to try with the WNBA. They have seemed to slowly get more people interested in UFC cards, as they will still continue to make those cards after they have lost their major markets, but perhaps the WNBA could be something that eventually they push more for as well. Perhaps, that's just a personal reflection. I mean, the UFC is arguably even more of a niche interest than the WNBA. I mean, for me, even though I don't follow the WNBA, I could easily name quite a few current or past WNBA player names, but I would be hard-pressed to name a single UFC fighter. I don't follow either, really, but for me, the UFC seems significantly more hidden and uninteresting. I'd much rather collect WNBA cards than UFC cards personally, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. Now, I don't know for sure if Panini will be the long-term license holder for the WNBA. The fact that they aren't focusing that much attention that way yet, when they are trying to shift some interest towards the UFC, makes me think the WNBA isn't big on their long-term agenda. But it seems to me there's still some untapped potential in this market that somebody would be wise to explore. As for me, I think I'm likely to keep an eye on how this market continues, and perhaps investing in a few all-time great rookie cards is not a bad thing to consider at all. The prints in those early years in particular were very low, so if WNBA cards do continue to rise in interest, some of those early prints could really be worth something someday. And it'd be pretty cool to hold a piece of some of that early history from some of those earlier days of WNBA cards. Hence why I picked up that Cynthia Cooper Pinnacle inside the WNBA rookie card recently. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm happy to throw some of my focus into supporting this league more. I think the games are incredibly fun to watch, actually. I would even argue that the strategy and fundamental gameplay that occurs in a WNBA game is more interesting than an NBA game. The NBA, as it has become more and more about one big man surrounded by 4 shooters and a lot of athleticism, has actually lost some of that intricate strategy that used to be so important to winning and used to make for some really entertaining games. The WNBA has some of that strategy of old school NBA. It can make for some really entertaining games, I think. But anyway, that's all I have for this video. Please do subscribe to the channel for lots of sports card related content. Peace.